think that's the thing about this map and the thing about when you're the new team and you haven't been able to get points is, okay, Reject haven't been able to get points, but they've still been able to put in a good show. They've been able to put up some fight. It's not that they're being entirely sort of handed away, because we've seen that in this league. We've had a massive disparity in history between the top teams and the bottom teams. I wouldn't say we have that right now with Reject. Sure, they haven't got off the starting block yet, but it's not that far away.
No, it's definitely not. And to some extent, it's basically like what we saw from T1 last year, right? I mean, they were invited to the spot as well. They struggled a little bit. There were only 4 wins over the entire season, 2 of which were in overtime. And that's in 21 games, of course. Now, started off a little bit stronger here. And Reject, well, they also have found a spot, of course, due to one of the rosters departing. And now they need to at least try and do the best they can. This is a bit of a learning experience for them as well, of course, because suddenly they're into T1 here and are looking to find some rounds, looking to fight some games, and more importantly, points to stay off the bottom of that scoreboard.
That new ban phase screen, it feels really high def. And I know it's probably the same def as it used to be. It's just still early. Look at all these Pro League skins there.
Yeah.
Look at all these nice new packs. You get the card.
Exactly who supports who here.
Yeah. The Habana one is the new Battle Pass one, but the others, a lot of them, are the new team skins. Check them out. They're cool. What's your favorite? What's your favorite? I'm putting you on the spot right now.
I really like... Okay, so some of the ones I think are too
you buy in time?
Too busy. No, but I like the more simple ones. So I like the BDS one. I like the G2 one. It's not because they bribed me. It's partially due to that.
That's why BDS is my favorite. Best friends DS is what I sent them, because they sent me one, and that buys my loyalty.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really like it, even if they wouldn't have sent me one. Yeah, there is
Shinosang's operator bundle on the bottom. You can get that.
You can get it now. It's actually in the game now.
Get it.
It's no longer a leak.
That we did.
That we accidentally put on the board.
Yeah, our bad. But not our bad. But
not our bad. I mean, we brought it to the attention after it was shown.
All right, let's talk Cafe. Let's talk the fact that somebody's already dropped. Take is gone. The Ying's there. Who else was there? An Amaru, a Glaz. I was sort of waiting to see if this would be a bit of an early strike, and, well, they've done that before, and they're not going to do it this time round. Salty. He's on this sort of slow approach. The hang at first isn't quite catching anybody. They'll give the game away of his drop, but losing the Ying, losing Take, it means that the push that was otherwise going to come through on this Skylight, you assume, well, it's probably not going to come through anymore.
It can still come through. I mean, I don't think it was a Skylight push at all here, as they do, of course, have the Amaru. Could be going up the hatch, could be going up the window, for example. The rest was just maybe there for distraction, but SANDBOX picks up the Amaru. That means that the diffuser has also been dropped. And Reject, well, it was a very short-lived 13 seconds for Take. Tadaniki as well, taken out early here. So Reject now having a choice to make. They can either just try and play this out slowly, try and get some picks and play this a more traditional way, which will be difficult with the lack of hard breach they have, which will force them into just the choke points near the piano or the site itself. Or if they want to take this time to quickly discuss the next strategy already. I mean, we have seen teams take tactical timeouts after the first round. I don't think
we've seen Reject do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Reject did it on the very first Playday. And here, SANDBOX isn't letting them get comfortable. And I kind of like that, because that was the worry. Coming onto this map, they sort of set it on the desk that it's not a great SANDBOX map. And you're looking at the possibilities here of attack and how pacey you can be, how sharp you can be. And that, to be honest, works in Reject's favor. Here, more pressure, but no punishment on the back of that player forced out of the position. Just over a minute left, and, well, they've been able to find their first. A lucky catch there onto Static with the pre-fire of the LMG. Almost goes for the second, but most of those bullets, unfortunately, do not connect.
Pre-fire come through. Candy will be able to find a double kill here and still continues to fire. 8 bullets left, however, in the LMG. Might not be fully aware as the reload hasn't come through yet. The Glass repels in, tries to find one here from the cocktail balcony. Is going to be able to spot a little bit of yellow, but he's the last man standing here. 10 HP, a lot less than that, actually. And 34 seconds to try and clutch this out. Spots more yellow, sees one running by, but he's going to get swung on by Charlotte. Gets that kill, SANDBOX. Round 1. And where Fabian said it's very hard to get into the building if the defenders played it right.
They played it right.
SANDBOX played that very right in those first 2 kills. We were able to shut them down before they even got close. and with that, find that first round.
So we can talk about how there isn't a massive disparity between the sort of top of the board and the bottom, as there has been in APAC leagues before.
Yeah.
But it's also worth sort of highlighting that these are two teams that are at the bottom. Reject is obviously currently sitting in 8th, with SANDBOX, who have had a false start for what we expect of them. Reject, it's hard to always... It's not just hard, it's impossible to peg expectations on a team that is the fresh promoter. It doesn't matter if they are coming through as sort of wonder kids. It doesn't matter if they're coming through with a little bit of luck. It just is a different environment. It's an unfair comparison to expect either high expectations or low expectations of a team. It's been, again, a bit of a tricky opening here, whereas SANDBOX, we have expectations for them because of the work that they've been able to, usually at the top of the board.
Yeah, that's it, right. They've always been out there with the rest of the team. Of course, had a little bit of a dip before they turned back into Mantis FPS, but it was quickly solved afterwards. And they still managed to, I believe, end up on the top of the standings at the end of the year there. So overall, this is one of those top teams. The big thing, however, though, that we need to continue to mention is that Nova is currently the coach. And he's now playing until Good Boy is 18, and he's allowed to play. And then that is going to be April 18th. So that is going to be one to last the Playday for APAC North. So it's going to be taking a little bit longer. They need to play 2 more games with this roster before they can go to their full 5. And with that, it is damage limitation to some extent. Every point you get is a point that is very welcome.
No Glaz, no Ying, none of that play this time around. They know that it's a bit of a pocket strat, and it didn't work at all. Whether it would have if they'd been full strength on the approach to the building or not, either way, they're going to go with something more traditional, and every Taylor opens it in the same way as before. A huge take with that heavy hitting gun on the back line there, and it's just that limitation. You're looking at the firearms that they're setting themselves up with here, and it is a lot of these sort of... It's obviously the DMR in the pockets of Nova here. You've got that ACS on the other side, and they're trying to take these long-range firefights against, well, a team that's quite capable. But here, Shile striking around from the side, whether he was unchecked. Envy Taylor comes in to offer some support. They are still trying to hit slugs into the bodies of anybody that takes the top of red.
Grenade's going to be tossed in very deep here. Actually, not very deep. It's right behind the bar, and that is giving more opportunity here for Shao to try and take the gunfight. Unfortunately for him, loses it, however, as Kenny gets traded out, injured. EBNO, he's going to get confirmed. It's only up to no time now. He's the last man standing, in SANDBOX. They're absolutely ripping apart Reject here. They're not given a single chance over these last 2 rounds. And it starts off with these, of course, the big guns, right? They hit hard. If you find a single hit, suddenly your health is down to 30, 40 HP, and everything will almost one-shot or two-shot you. But I think the big problem we're seeing here for Reject is they were allowed to get in, like, to the top of the building this time. They weren't really being spawn peaked, but then they just dropped, and that's it. It's the elite skin. Unfortunately, we don't get to see it.
New elite.
We might see it on the shield. I don't know. We'll find out later. Either way, the thing is, right? I forgot my point. No, that they wanted to push this time right over to the top, but they didn't check Piano, and that is a rookie mistake. You should always drone out Piano. Piano is one of those, well, areas where defenders will happily play in, especially if you put up not a single point of pressure, because they'll be able to stop you from the cigar shop. They'll be able to stop you top red, and just make your entry over that top floor a lot more difficult. SANDBOX now, they've won those last 2 rounds. They're going down towards the bottom floor, not the basement here, because it is on that ground floor, of course. It is going to be the kitchen, and a bakery hold seems to be the majority part of it. Some smart openings here, I believe that is with the Rooney punch, not with the shotguns, as they create rotations now if they're not equipped with a laser. Which is going to be making it a little bit harder for the attackers to open it up. They're going to have to use Candy on that secondary shotgun, for example, or the buck, or the sledge, but probably not going to be extending any hard breach to it. Seems, however, that Reject wants to go for a top floor take again, as most of them are rappelling up into that roof. As hatches are being prepared here, SANDBOX is well aware of the approach plan that is made by Reject.
So, what else can you sort of piece together here? What is the problem that you've had against this approach that's otherwise coming through here from SANDBOX, because to be honest, they're approaching you more than you're sort of approaching them. The pressure is on the second you get into the building, or in the opening round close. You got to try and work out how you can pull that apart. What is that little disconnect? Is it this sort of drone pressure that they're now applying? Is they're still setting up going down inside the site? There it is, at least. The entry goes in their favor. They get rid of MV Taylor, who has 5 kills in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's going to be a big shutdown there on the side of SANDBOX, who lose a big player, and Reject now have an opportunity here to start working towards their first round in this game, as the previous 2 have been pretty hopeless, you can almost say. Seems like they are starting to push near the VIP area. Gemini Replicator has just found the player out there. The pings are coming through. However, there is someone on contact, and Static just swings with the MK14, gets that kill. That is Takada and Nikki gone, and that is their heart breach gone. That's your diffuser dropped on the ground, and that means that Static can just try and hold it. Take putting up some extra pressure, using that Gun 6. Drone is near as well. They were aware of the Yana's presence due to the Gemini that was taken out earlier. If they manage to find that kill as well on the side of SANDBOX, it's definitely going downhill for the side of Reject. Of course, they need to put that pressure onto the VIP now. No time doing exactly that through the brown stairs.
And here it is, a very slow bout of pressure from No Time here.
Oh,
He
Static!
loses out. Static.
Oh,
Takes
Static!
half of 2. Is this 3?
Yes, it is! A quad!
Static for his quad, buried in. 3 of them within a period of about 10 seconds. And, well, that's why he was highlighted at the start of all of this. He is having a tournament.
Very well here. Can he find the ace? It's going to be the big question. No, undoubtedly, they're going to try and let him get it, because there is still 4 men on the board here for SANDBOX. There's 18 seconds left for Reject to make something happen. There's not really anything they can do, and it seems like Salty is not even going to attempt to. Just holding these verticalities here. See if he can find an exit kill, as he is about to throw his frag grenade in as the last ever thing he'll do in this round. Will be the quad kill. Stays with that. Static picked them all apart one by one from the VIP area. And SANDBOX are continuing very strongly here. And where we saw Reject be able to at least put up a bit of a fight in previous games, I mean, not so much on the attack, but more on the defense, it is looking very, very dominating right now from SANDBOX. So there's just almost no kills being brought into the way of Reject. I think it's 4 or 5 kills in total that they have right now. SANDBOX is currently on 15 and 3 rounds.
Yes, at
4
what
kills.
time do you call the timeout? What time do you have the conversation? I mean, boop.
Just wait for him to walk back. Beautiful. No, the other one is coming in from the white stairs. Grenades carried him off a little bit, but it didn't stop him from the kill there.
Honestly. And that was, and obviously it got on the first one as well, and then tied those 3 together. 3 different locations, all within such a brief window. When for the first time, you know, Reject had started to get a bit of a footing. They'd started to get a bit of pace here. We're onto a side rotation now. We've got 3 for the half. It's still Cafe. You can still look at 4-2 as like a generic hold on your defense, but how dominating has these opening 3 rounds been?
Oh, he's just
going
for it.
No! Well, there's a Nook.
They know that now. They just wanted to go for it. They realized, okay, you know, we're doing quite well. We're quite dominating at this very moment. Why don't we just try it again? And even if you fail that very first attempt, you can just try and throw yourself against it again. One thing they're trying to bait out, though, is the Adrenaline Surges. One already used, of course. Maybe another one will be used as well to get Taki somewhat closer towards that full HP. Of course, it's not going to be the end of it. Nomad Hell Presence Sensor, I believe it's called, used to get by the camera there. He's aware that someone is around those white stairs, but he's not being hunted currently. Of course, why would they, as they are all the way up on that top floor?
Well, they just popped the camera anyway. And I think they had hoped someone would come down, hoping it was safe, and try and swing out on the potential rappel there and just catch them as a Nook. But I think when they realized nobody's going to play that game, I mean, SANDBOX still know how to keep them arm's length. Sure, they're going for these window peaks. They're going for these super early bits of aggression. And if they're not working, they're not then overextending. They're not trying to double down. They know if they're in a 4 versus 5, they have to start playing a little bit more cards close to their chest. Nova, he's suffering now, and a connection takes the kill. And escapes the grenade. There's a player that's probably going to pop up onto white stairs. There's a pressure onto Zulu, but they have a presence in the corridor. They've got to try and isolate this fight, and they got to choose one or the other sooner rather than later, because otherwise no time. He's going to get locked in. There it is. Static goes down. They now have a little bit more control on the opposite side.
Harper right around the corner is going to be fined one more. Salty, however, has his double kill, and it's only up to Harper now in a 1v3 situation. The problem, however, is that the diffuser is still downstairs. It's a minute 13 on the clock. It's plenty of time. Candy still has the opportunity to hack these cams, but needs to be very careful. Bings are coming through. They know one is right around the corner here, and Harper is just waiting for the opportunity where he can strike on the planter. Swings around, gets the first, jumps on top of the bar. It's an elevated angle, might be a bit more difficult to challenge as the ping towards the white stairs comes out. They have a feeling that someone is pushing from there. Of course, not the case currently. 50 seconds, still counting down, slowly but steadily, and Candy comes in from the side, finds the shot with the DMR, and lends Reject their first round of this game.
They finally find something, and to be honest, there at the end, it looked like a bit of a miscall. They had themselves just sort of tail out on that position there, and it was a very easy pickup from the end because, well, the pickup came from the opposite side as to where they expected it. Okay, there's one. What can you build from this? Because, well, you're starting to get a little bit sharper, starting to find a little bit more of a rhythm that's more in tune with the game that's being put in front of you. SANDBOX, overzealous. You obviously have lost MV Taylor now twice on that entry role, and sure, it was super successful in the opening 2 rounds, but when mistakes happen, you have to then pull away from that. You have to then try and restructure a little bit. And if I'm going to compliment you on how you pulled back before, you've still got to treat this team like a top tier opponent. You still have to treat them like a tier 1 team, regardless of how easy those opening rounds were.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always got to keep your composure. As soon as you start underestimating your opponent, that's when they are going to be able to thrive, really. That's when they're going to be able to steal these rounds away. You know, and maybe, okay, I just talked about underestimating, but I'm also just saying right now, SANDBOX is not playing with that full 5. Playing against Reject right now in the current way that they are might be even a help for them because they want to get as many points, of course, before Good Boy comes in as possible. But it also makes it more important to continue respecting your opponent, making sure that you're not going for that re-peek on that spawn peek after you just missed the first couple of shots with MK40. Just pop off, you've done the damage, that's it. Nothing else needed. Because the extra man could have been the difference maker in the end there. Static again is going to be taking some damage here. Was making rotations, I believe, with the shotgun. Losing quite a bit of his HP there.
I love that
pressure this time. Which charm?
There's the little pug in the heart.
Oh,
and Harper is out of the round. Anyway, you won't get to see any more of that. There is, once again, that entry kill. The 3rd time in a row. Reject have been able to cement it. Can they find their 2nd round in a row after not quite being able to get it before, thanks to the meteoric effort of Static, who, to be honest, is already a little bit injured. And outside of that quad kill, hasn't had the biggest impact on the game as of yet. But now with a little bit more pressure onto Shyle, now with a little bit more of this sort of top end, you can see that SANDBOX are a little bit more reserved once again now that they've lost that opening body. MV Taylor is trying to hot hop either side, but look at the change of Reject. They're not all dropping into the top of red this time. They know that they'll get torn up, so they've pulled themselves back, slightly different angle and approach, burn through Skylight, push the player out, and now go for that pressure.
The utility just used through that Skylight there should be giving away some of the information there. Tadaniki does go down. I'm not quite sure if he fell down and healed himself back up or if he was shot. Salty, however, great kill. As he finds one, he's going to get his feet shut out underneath him, and just as he tries to prone to find the angle, it's Static that just takes his head clean off.
Well, there's a player that Static doesn't really care about. I was going to say a very different call at that moment in time, but somehow Static wins out, and that really shouldn't have been his to take. It's no time. That's able to at least put one back in, keep that body balance in their favor. They have 50 seconds. They have a lot of time to try and rebuild, and a little bit of a misthrow on utility there.
Oh, what the hell is that? What is that shot?
What is that?
He is insane today. He's just picking up all these crazy kills. That's a quad. Is he going to get the ace this time is the big question. A quad kill. Now it might be an ace. He doesn't spot him. It's a 1v1. Take gets that one. 30 seconds. Static again with a massive effort here.
I'm a little bit lost for words, and well, I think if Shyle loses this, so will Static be. 15 seconds. He's got to see if he can try and stick this. He's going all the way around on the rotate. He wants to take the fight rather than go for the play. He doesn't. Saw him. And Shyle wins out Static's round for him. But, I mean, okay. The rotate round onto Train. He shouldn't have won it, and he did. He pulled that one out. Fair enough. That's quick reactions with an SMG after animation. The one from the reverse vertical, a very tough one to pull. When you're with that SMG, I do not know that third one.
I think that was just
if that was you would assume a ping, but
I know what's going on Twitch chat right now. It's going to be just facts coming through.
It's just...
Oh, that's what...
So, yeah, so this first one, he comes round, and he's just finished that.
It's a hipfire headshot. It's a bit of luck
snappy.
involved.
Is there a ping?
No.
No.
There's no ping.
What is that?
That verticality as well, though. Beautiful. Like he was shooting at SMG. He was shooting at the feet, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm being shot. Let me just put my head right as where I'm getting shot."
And you did that so injured as well because he lost out early on. And I said earlier on in that call, in that round, I was like, you know, he's had a big round. He's on, but 4 of his 5 kills came from 1 round over the 3. Yeah. And then he goes and does that, and he's like, you're right. He's another 4.
Now 8 of his 9 kills come out of 2 rounds out of 5.
Honestly.
It's
hey, a Blackbeard.
A Blackbeard indeed. But I was going to say, you kind of need these plays every now and then because it was sort of getting out of hand for SANDBOX there. The recheck was looking on point to go for their 2nd round. And I think Taki has decided to go for this Blackbird considering all the spawn peaks that have been going on. Might be a way to deal with it. Anyway, we're back in that basement. And look at that. It's a DMR. It's just going to take the clean shield right off. With 1 single shot. Spots it. That's it. It's gone. Oh, no. It's still on. Is it gone? Oh, yeah. It's still there. He's trying for it. He's not hitting the shots quite yet, though.
Yeah, it's that sort of situation here. I mean... Well, there it is. Now it's gone. The swing round came from the stairs. It saves Take's life, though. And he's obviously been able to apply another one. But look at this. Envy Taylor. He's going to see if he can try and find a fight elsewhere. The slow peek. And the reveal on the drone and the pull back. They're just sort of putting that pressure on and saying, well, we know you're here. But it's actually good to see Envy Taylor survive this long into a round.
He's staying alive for now, indeed, yeah. And that's the first Blackbeard shield gone. Take, of course, has decided to not really go for that same angle again. You do not want to lose both your shields to trying to challenge the VIP player if you're not going to be able to get the kill out of it. Instead, verticality is starting to happen. Salty from the engine room, or the mining room, is starting to open up. Grenades are being tossed in. Not going to be finding anything. Maybe a little bit of utility here or there, but no players are out there. As I say that, there's actually an important rotate coming through, but grenade didn't come through in the end. Shaw, near the bakery, aiming right at the head. He doesn't even know it, and of course it's not a wall-bangable wall either. Takes down the drone, but that does mean they nose drive behind the cupcake bar here, so he's being challenged! And finds the kill. Tadaniki loses his life, loses his head. Harper gets the kill as well, and Reject is back to being rejected from the site.
Now, as the calls come through and they pull themselves a little bit further back, you can see the sort of sat there. They had done really good work over the past couple of rounds, getting that opening kill and being able to drive behind it. But here they're lost once again, and they've lost another player. Shyle tucked in, goes for another. Candy is the reward inside the bakery right after Take is the first. And here, Salty, well, he's the man above, and he's able to get 1, but you're looking at 40 seconds. And still a lot more players to try and find. Fishing for the 2nd, and that's a success, but it's otherwise now just a bit of a straight push. Just sees the 3rd, okay. There's a triple. Granted, SANDBOX is handing him kind of repeated 1 versus 1s here. You can kind of excuse the 2 players. They're underneath on the verticality, but still, there's work to be done. He's not going to find the cleanest route through here. He will not opt to actually take that little burst of damage, even though the next fight is here in the corridor. Suddenly it's a quad kill. Suddenly it's 5 seconds. There's no way through. You just have to tuck in, but Envy Taylor wants the kill. I mean, it was...
What is this with these quad kills? This is the 3rd one we've seen so far in this game. He's just...
He's kind of... I think a lot of that SANDBOX just kept on handing him 1.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you knew at some point he was still above, and you know it's Sledge, so he'll continue to open up.
Yeah,
so losing 2 people like that, like 1, okay. The 2nd one, not so much. But after that, yeah, the hunt as well up to the top floor. Shao wanted that ace, wasn't able to get it.
5-1.
1-5, yeah, indeed. Reject now onto the defense, though. This is where they have a bit more opportunity of picking up these rounds, but SANDBOX, they've just been outgunning them here on the defense, and that is truly how you should see it. They're going over to the attack now. Yes, they'll have to, well, dig into the defenses that are being tossed up here by Reject. But if their gunplay is just so on point today, especially if you're looking at Static, not so much that last round where he missed most of his shots, but if you look at the 2 rounds where you had those 4Ks, that is definitely a dangerous prospect here. Charles as well, just hiding as well right behind it afterwards. But not a single clue. As soon as he shot the camera, it's like, all right, there's one out there, and he's looking up, not down, which is an easy kill to grab. And now SANDBOX need 2 more rounds to pick up some more points here. 3 more, to be exact. Seems that Salty's wanting to give back to SANDBOX what SANDBOX gave them, which is a bit of spawn peekery. He's going to receive some bullets coming his way, though, so he'll probably pull out as soon as he can. Or not. You might try and go for this elevated angle here.
I mean, you want to try and, I suppose, apply some pressure. They've got this opened up. They know it's a game they've suffered at before, and Salty is a huge player. He's been able to pull some big plays off before, especially on the defense. The first sort of moment where I think Reject really put their stamp on it was in their time in 2-1, was around the 4th round in their opening Playday, where he pulled off a huge sort of 1 versus 3 clutch. And I think there's always that capability, especially in the fact that he's just come off the back of a 4K. This game has been 4Ks, this game has been clutches, and SANDBOX sometimes have struggled in their approaches, have struggled in their attacks throughout this season so far.
That's it, right? But even though it might not be their favorite map, it's Nova with the very first kill. A good opening. Take gone as the Mamai and Magnet's gone. No more will be deployed. And with 2 inside the piano here, that is quite a vulnerable spot here for Reject. Because as soon as the pressure does start to come through, as soon as Tadaniki does lose his life, that might be the end of it, as Nova gets that one as well. All they need to do now is go for an opening to C4, not detonated quick enough here, and Salty is not going to be able to find a response as of yet.
Oh, there is nowhere he can go as well. He's got to see if he can try and find a fight here. There's no cover that can truly come at this point, and no escape through as long as those windows are watched.
He's gone for the jump out. He's gone for the jump out.
There it is. There's the first. There's the air jab caught. By the second, they had that cover and protection. They expected some of that aggression, and to be honest, in that situation, so we had to try and win some back, and at least took 1. No time stepped into this slot, hoping that he'll go a little bit unknown at this point, but the drones are still rolling through. Now he's isolated. Now he's in a tricky situation. Now he's tucked in on a corner as the pings come and the pressure starts to break across.
Now, you know one is right behind the minibar here, right? And you just saw the other one rotating back through wide. That means no one is on the direct side. Of course, Candy has rotated back now, is playing around there, but they do not need to get rid of no time there because he will walk in the crossfire at some point sooner rather than later here. Actually picks up the kill, and it's going to be an aggressive push coming out from Candy as well. It's going to be the LMG that keeps on firing, finds the first, goes for the second, but Candy will live for now. A 1v2, but he cannot clutch it. SANDBOX take that round. They're on match point here. I need a single more attack in these next 5 rounds to pick up 3 points.
That's it. They have all the time in the...
The other one was still brought back, eventually, by Static. And now it's 1-6. It's not a healthy-looking prospect here. SANDBOX looking to pick up 3 more points, push themselves over to 5th, which is a good thing, considering the situation with their roster. For those of you just tuning in, you might wonder why we say that. It's due to the fact that Nova is a coach now, is still playing, however, till the moment that Good Boy turns 18, which will be the 18th of April, actually. Twice 18 in there. And that is when he's allowed to play APAC North. Until then, they need to play with Nova, and they need to do the best they can in these matches. We call it in the first Playday damage limitation. You want to make sure that you do not end up bottom last, right? You want to make sure that you stay competitive, not get into that relegation danger straight away. And with this, SANDBOX is doing a pretty good job here because they put 6 points in between themselves and Reject. And of course, we'll be on that last spot. But are the new team on the block, are the ones that have the most to, well, improve in, so to say, over the year. And will most definitely do that as well as the next stages are coming along here.
Well, Harper suffered a little on that approach. Salty, they're still going to try and play that game because they know they can play it well, but they've pulled themselves back. The castle, I think, that was on the white window there has already been popped and already been a little bit destroyed potentially. And that gives that position a little bit more risk. It was an early break. And now we'll see if they can try and build behind it. A standard approach for now. Over the top and towards this corner of red with the clarity over the new Bauk. What are Reject going to be able to pull out here to try and stop this?
That's the big question. Are Reject going to be able to stop this? I have my doubts here. Of course, SANDBOX, a very experienced team, and they're just playing this with more aggression than they normally would right now, and they're getting away with it, so that only fuels their confidence into the remainder of this match. This time a block, you see it there, onto that top floor. There is the castle barricades. There is also a Echo Yokai drone, which is being spotted out by these drones, so they know exactly that it's around there. It's actually jumping up and down the hatch to try and get some information here, but they slash in really fast. You see that just drops right through the door as well, opening it up with that caber. Putting up the pressure instantly.
Well, here, the footholds aren't going to slow them down too much. It's the standard swing round.
No one is holding it either.
Yeah, they know that they can try and apply some pressure down onto 90. They have that little bit extra width, and that castle that's on that connector between the cigar shop, because nobody was buried in here intrinsically, it now isn't really a big problem for them. They have a little bit more safety for a team that when you're up against Reject, you know they like to swing into these situations. They're going for a big rotate. They're trying to pick themselves up right now. And if you're Reject, you're sort of thinking, well, where's this going to come from? Because, well, look at this. The pressure's now swapped over towards this eastern side and eastern front. They've sort of picked themselves up entirely.
Charles pushing up from the white stairs here with the LMG. He's going to get spotted by the proc sensor, but in nowhere. He's going to be able to get that very first kill. Knows one is around the pixel as well, but doesn't quite know which angle it is. Heard the drop through the hatch. Picks up the kill onto the Oryx as well. That's 2 down. Only 3 more to go before the 3 points happen. Make that 2 as he dies and gets traded out by Salty here.
Salty's trying his best to win some of this pressure background onto the top of red. It's Candy inside the vault that gets absolutely cleaned up. Salty with 1 more, but the castle's still standing. It's an unclean rotation. Doesn't want to try and hit red, and as the diffuser starts to hit the floor, it's the grenade that hits it first. What happened with that proximity, I do not know, because drones don't trigger those. People do, and they just acted like they didn't know, and I mean, it was a rough day here for Reject. If I'm going to say it's the best and most confident SANDBOX played, unfortunately for Reject, it was the most skittish they